Call is now being recorded.
Welcome to the V2V podcast with Shorts and Aurelius, episode number 18. Hey, Shorts.
Hey.
Wow. We're back. We did an episode recently, but it seems like we've been gone a long time.
Yeah, it's been a very full week, hasn't it, really, on the V2V podcast?
It really has. And we got lots of news, lots of interesting stuff going on. I asked Arnold to join us.
Yeah.
And because I have some questions about some stuff that he's been up to. He's been kind of working as an impromptu motivational speaker, which, that's pretty cool. But, so, is she here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Arnold.
Yeah, hello, yeah, hi. I just came from the beach and riding my bike past the bombs. Yeah. Get dirty. Yeah.
So, I noticed that you've been doing some small acts of kindness lately, which isn't uncommon for you, but this is not usually publicized.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been being a good little Santa here. Not the bad Santa looking for the scuba Steve, whatever it was, the action hero. Anyway. Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about depression.
Yeah.
Because I saw online that you actually really helped somebody out the other day.
Yeah.
There was a young man who was depressed in bed for months, hadn't hit the gym, and he asks you for some help to, quote, get off my lazy ass and hit the gym. And and then you very kindly responded and surprised him.
Yeah.
You said
I
that.
Did.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't take any slack from these whiny kids who they want to sit in their bed and they want to be fat and lazy. I'm not interested in this shit. I'll come over there.
You say that. It's interesting that you say that. Because what you said to him was that you weren't going to be that hard on him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Well, you know how I had the Sully hanging off of the cliff? And, I told him originally that, I was going to kill him last. Do you remember what I said to him, when I dropped him? Do you remember? Because he was the second fatality. I said...
Well,
I lied.
Tell the audience.
I fucking lied. I lied! Yeah!
You did, but in a nice way.
Yeah, of course. I'm a gentleman about my murder, If I drop you off the cliff, I want you to have the pleasant ride down.
Right, and that's nice. That's very gentlemanly to do before you you kill somebody, to let them know that you did make a promise. Yeah. But you know what? I lied.
Yeah, that's right. Are you trying to impersonate me, dear Marcus? Huh? You're trying to impersonate me now, huh? Yeah.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
So we all go through challenges, and we all go through failure. Can you tell our audience some of the challenges that you've gone through to help further motivate people to get out of bed and hit the gym?
Yeah, I mean, I had a problem where I had, I booked these dates with these women the day before, and I'd have 40 dates booked, and, my car can explode about 20 times a day, back in the heyday when I was on the Mexican growth hormone. And so I feel like, trying to get to 40 was a challenge for me. And, this was saddening me, which makes me very, very sad. And, I'd go in the corner for, about 30 seconds and I'd feel sad about it. And then, I learned to, accept that I have to just blow off 20 of these women and, have the other, 20 for myself. Yeah.
That's interesting. Anything else going on?
I want to talk about something extremely important. This is an extremely important issue to my head. So,
listening.
There was this man, and, he had the small vein, and, he had a problem, and he had to contact this girlie on the Facebook. And, he was talking to her very rationally about the issues of the small vein, and, this man's name is Mitch. His name's Mitch. And, he had a point about how the virgin, woman's vagina is the source of the growth of the man. And I fully agree with this wholeheartedly. I think that, the reason my schlang is so big is I slosh it around in many virgins.
Okay.
And, so then this woman, she laughed out with him, and there was a massive response to push back, the blowback against the Mitch, essentially. And, so I started the, Mitch 2 movement. Yeah. Because I feel...
The Mitch 2 movement.
Yeah. Because it's important, it's important that, the man is represented, This is not okay for the woman to, to holster, the precious, growth organ and to not, utilize it for the growth of the man who has the small one,
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Is that, you're going to be doing any lectures or activities regarding the Mitch 2 movement?
Yeah, we're going to be riding a bus across the country that has the hashtag Yamish2. Yeah, and we're going to be stopping in all the towns to recommend to the young ladies that they preserve their organ for the special man who has a small one. Yeah. Education.
Wow, that's the Lord's work, Arnold. Sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Can you say fantastic for us? Oh,
yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Schwarzenegger, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, listen, I have to go. I have to go fuck the nanny now. Bye.
Bye. Wow. Arnold, everybody.
Wow, yikes.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a little round of applause for that one.
So,
he's got something going on called the Mitch 2 movement. And, I think I know what he was referring to. We had, we had a conversation on the show, between Mitch and, Maddie. Yeah. And Mitch was declaring that Maddie couldn't be a feminist because she's not a virgin. And he hit that pretty hard. And went on for about 5 minutes about how, it takes a virgin vagina to be able to grow the male dick adequately. And she wasn't taking it, but I will definitely put a link to that in the show notes so people can hear it for themselves and understand further kind of what Arnold was talking about, because it's probably one of the most preeminent topics of our day. I would think so. The growth of the male dick. It's pretty important. So, not to get too much into that, but there will be a link, and so people can investigate for themselves about what exactly this movement is about.
Indeed.
You never know what Arnold's going to bring.
No, it's quite random. Yeah.
Very, very. I do like the fact that he constantly brings up his old movie lines too. That's it's always fun.
Yeah, it's nostalgic, you know.
It really is. Because he's getting up there in age. He's still obviously working out, helping out those depressed kids. But he's not going to be around forever.
No.
So I'm glad to help secure his legacy as an advocate.
Yeah, I feel his time is really precious, you know, and we need to take every moment for what it is with him.
Sure. Exactly. So we do have a Charlie Sheen update. That's happening.
Yay! Charlie Sheen winning.
Update. Yay.
Charlie Sheen. We win so radically before our first cup of coffee in the morning, it's scary.
Absolutely. So the last time we spoke about Charlie Sheen, I believe he was planning his Australian speaking tour.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. And he was going to go and talk about his life and do a little Chuck Lorre bashing. Maybe some AIDS talk, like how to get it, and how to, how to get his brand in particular, I think.
Yeah. Yes. His strain.
his particular strain, right. So to go on from there, he's really pumping it up even further. Quote, "You will hear some great stories." This is from his mouth. And tickets are on sale now. And you can get them for between only $195 and $295 a pop. For $1,500, you can get a selfie and a party.
Wow!
You're banging those 8-gram rocks.
Oh yeah!
All the Australians are really kind of excited. In fact, they're so excited, sold out.
Wow!
Yeah.
He's still doing it. Wow.
Yeah, his whole tour.
That's amazing.
It really is, because he needs the help. He's highly in debt. He pays Denise Richards $20 grand a month.
Right.
And I think he pays who is his other wife? Bree Olsen?
Yeah.
$50,000 a month.
Yeah.
And so he apparently was on the verge of bankruptcy, but the Australians have appeared to have saved him, which is really incredible. I think that because I don't know how well they really know him, but apparently well enough to want to buy all of his tickets.
Yeah. I think they know him really well. I think he's a cult hero there. Because, it's sort of part of that old school 80s crowd that kind of went over there with all the movies that they brought over there in that time,
Yeah.
I'm sure they know him. And I'm sure they know 2.5 Men.
Oh, absolutely. There may be enough distance, though, between him and his shenanigans, so they may know him more strictly as an entertainer, perhaps.
Right.
Where we're the Americans are so jaded regarding Charlie that he couldn't pull that off here.
Yeah.
He had to go down under, upside down, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
In order to even sell enough tickets to get him out of his financial mess. But yeah, good job, Charlie.
Yeah.
Plus,
I hope he can make it to every date though. I mean, like, what if his AIDS kicks up, or something happens,
or he just gets bored, or Denise's horses are in trouble again, and needs to rush home to make sure that, or what if his house sells?
Or what if he runs out of horse skin condoms? I mean, God, he could go through all of them in first day there.
I bet Australia has a good supply of horse skin condoms. I think.
Yeah,
I think they do.
Think?
They're that kind of place.
I'll have to ask my friend.
Your friend's an expert on Australian horse skin condoms?
Well, no, but she definitely lives in Australia, and she'd know. She would have seen them around on the shelves and stuff, yeah. It's our listener, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl.
Oh, nice shout out there.
Hey.
So,
winning.
So there's more news, too, by the way. It
gets
better.
Okay.
So, back when Roseanne got booted, they ended her show. Charlie got really excited about the idea of bringing back 2.5 Men. Because from his perspective, he was just a party animal, and he had a conflict with the creator of the show. But, it's been several years, so he thought that what a great replacement. Like, and just for nostalgia's sake, to get his career back in order, to make money for Chuck Lorre again, but he was kind of shot down. Like, it kind of went nowhere. But now, he's also talking about wanting to mend that relationship. He wants to fix it. He wants to make amends to Chuck Lorre following their dramatic fallout. And,
historic.
It's pretty important. It's one of those cultural milestones that you don't get to see it very often, kind of like a supernova.
Yeah.
It isn't really a cultural milestone, but it's epic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, he's 52, old Chuck, and he hasn't spoken to Lori in person, but it's something he really wants to mend. And he lives close by, right? They live right down the street from each other. He could just go and drop a note under his door with his phone number, which I should and I will. Charlie Sheen is going to write a note and slip it right under the door.
Yes. It's going to work.
He's open to the idea of the reboot, and it would be so cool to reboot it. And I don't know how cool it would really be, but, it's worth a shot.
Why not? If it takes away from talking about the Kardashians, I'm in for it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's being very diplomatic about this. He says, I'm not knocking what they did when I left, because it's really difficult to keep a show going when the main guy bails. So what they did after he left was, he said it was spectacular and it would be awesome for my growth and my journey, but it would also be fantastic for the fans. He's ready and available. He's ready to go.
Man. That's for the fans.
Yeah, do it for the fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a really great Charlie Sheen update. Like, he's really going places. Australia.
Yeah. Chuck Lorre.
Lorre's getting out of his financial mess.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Charlie.
Winning.
I think so. I think this is actually a winning update, because a few of them recently have been not so winning.
Yeah.
But we're back. We're back. Oh, man. So that's the fun half.
Okay.
That is indeed the fun half of the show. Now, this next segment is has a lot to do with all of the interviews that we've been doing lately with troubled teen survivors, and we got some proof that people are listening, and what came across my desk yesterday was that Jaycie Henderson, one of our interviewees, got a response back from a staff member that was acting as her mentor while she was at a place called Solstice East. And I just want to kind of go over his response to what she said about the place, and we can kind of piece it apart and provide some commentary regarding like what he's talking about, because it's he makes a few points, and I want to like kind of go through part by part and discuss kind of what he means. The gentleman's name is Jason Denham, and you know, I did a little bit of research to discover what his credentials were to be a mentor in a therapeutic boarding school, which it's only natural to want to find out whether or not the people that are supposed to be taking care of and watching these so-called troubled youth, we want to make sure that they have the qualifications and the experience and knowledge to be able to provide therapeutic help. That would be seemingly a natural, normal thing to want if you're going to send your child to this kind of residential therapy. And therapy is definitely in quotes. So I looked this guy up, and and it looks like he studied graphic design. That's pretty good. Graphic design is a honorable thing to do.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like he worked as a fitness instructor, which is also very cool. Like, nothing wrong with that.
Sure, Arnold would approve.
Yeah, he teaches yoga, right?
Yep.
He's a yoga guy. Gets all of his chakras aligned, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, like from making, I don't know, logos for the local donut shop to being a master of the downward dog, right? Then suddenly he's a program director at a place called Passia Life Boston. And it seems like what's that? Right? That was my first thought was what in the world is Passia Life Boston? Well, what it is, it's kind of like graduate school or transitional living for kids who've been through therapeutic boarding school to now take another step back into the quote-unquote real world, because obviously they need to be further indoctrinated to whatever program that is being offered. They're into providing gap years. Like, for a gap year is hey, I just graduated from high school. I don't want to go to college right away. I'm going to take a year off and see things, do things that interest me. And a lot of times what that's presented as is a way to kind of bolster your experience so that when you do apply to college, they go, hey, look, this guy he traveled to Europe. Like he did this volunteer work over here in this, intervening year between high school and college. And that's a great thing to do. So what these guys do apparently is, use, something called the Tatori method, which I need to investigate further. I don't know exactly what that is, to provide personal empowerment. And the quote here is that we assist our students in not only achieving self-reliance, we also assist them in learning to thrive in life. That seems a little counterintuitive to preach self-reliance when you're asking someone to stay at some in some transitional living where you're not allowed to use tobacco, you're drug tested, you have to sign releases of liability, you have to sign that you are a participant in research, for outcome studies, whatever that means. So that's what this guy's doing now. He's the program director. So he went from.
I mean, I can pretty much.
To be really clear with this, he went from. Graphic design, becoming a yoga instructor, to now running a transitional living program for 18 to 24-year-olds. And now they're going to be launched out in the world because he has so much skill and credential to be able to teach these young adults what they should be doing with their lives when this guy can't figure out on his own what he wants to do.
No.
It's not. So there's a little background. And I'm not knocking any of these things per se. It's okay to be a graphic designer. It's okay to be a yoga instructor. It's even okay to be a program director of some transitional living, depending on what you're actually doing there. But the idea that people would spend a lot of money to go to some place like this when the qualifications are severely lacking for the guy who's actually running the place, that's the problem. So there's some background.
It's a massive problem.
Jaycie Denham. Right.
Can I just comment on what I think the research is? So basically the troubled teen industry doesn't have any, scientific research on outcome. They don't have any at all. So, they're basically funding this to be able to, continue doing what they're doing. And so this is just everyone who's participating in this, every child who comes out who's participating in this, adult then, is kind of furthering the troubled teen industry. And I'm sure there's a lot of doctored information too.
Well,
anyway.
No, you're exactly right. The website is exactly it is the sales pitch. It's all these beautiful pictures of big homes, and tree-lined streets and smiling people, and some really great copy about how wonderful it is and how you're going to be a new person and a better person. But when you pull the veil up and you find out the reality of the situation, you discover that it's just not true. The other interesting thing about Mr. Denham is that although he did work as a mentor at the program that Ms. Henderson was at, that's not indicated on his work history for some reason. And that's a big red flag too. Why wouldn't you be proud of that? Why wouldn't you say, hey, I worked here too?
Yeah.
Just a question, you know. It's one of those things that,
yeah.
It's again about hiding the real truth, even in little ways that don't allow someone to like pinpoint you. But we got you, Jason. We know what you're about. And so now I'm going to read this statement, which will further shed light on on the guilty, shameful response that he had to listening to Jaycie's interview with me. And it really is that. And I don't want to like say too much more about it until we actually read about it. But so here we go. So this is what she got from him.
Okay.
He says, "This is such a struggle. My perspective is one that I do not believe will bring you comfort." Okay, so right off the bat, I don't know who the struggle is with him. Like, is he struggling to like tell the truth or to lie, or what's the struggle?
Right.
And his perspective is one that he doesn't think will bring her any comfort. Well, why in the world would he do that? Like, why would he say something that would make her feel bad? So right away, he's like, it would only be explanation as to why places like that had to function the way they do. So I would encourage people to listen to her interview to find out the places that she's talking about and the way they function the way they do. That's actually like an admission.
It's totally an admission. It's totally an admission. And it's not therapeutic at all. You're basically saying to someone who's, you know, clearly been through trauma, who's told their story, that I've got no comfort for you, man. Yeah.
Right. And even though you need an explanation. Like, well, why would you need an explanation? She went through the program.
Exactly. She lived it.
So, and then he goes on. The hypocrisy gets really deep. Here's the kicker. You have always been a reasonable person. Okay. Would a reasonable person need to go to a troubled teen program? She's already reasonable. Aren't they dealing with people who are unreasonable or you know, too far gone for society or you know, whatever the case is? So he's already, again, saying, no, you were one of the good ones.
Yeah, and he's separating her from the others, which doesn't fit the model of the therapeutic program anyway, which is one size fits all. So, you know, he's already countering. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he goes on, and there were people who were not reasonable in that space. Unfortunately, unreasonable people will try anything to get what they want. When you attempted to do a playful joking thing in a space like that, of course the staff were more serious. Well, okay. So, she's reasonable. There are other people who are unreasonable, and they know she's reasonable. So then she's doing a joking thing, but that's not okay. That's unreasonable. Now you're being unreasonable again because we're going to be serious because you're doing a joking thing. Now, whoa, you got to stop that joking shit like right now because this is a serious place. Look at all these unreasonable people over here. You're the one who's supposed to be reasonable.
Right.
You can't joke, you know. We're going to take that very seriously if you're trying to do some joking thing.
Yeah.
Then he asks about Menninger, the psychiatric hospital that referred her to this place. And
Solstice,
update.
Yeah.
Jaycie was brave enough to contact Menninger and explain to them what she went through. And Menninger will no longer send people to Solstice East. They're not going to do it. They said, whoa, hold on a second. Like,
so
really?
often.
That went on there? So we're not gonna contribute to that kind of quote unquote program any longer, because she had the courage to say, hey hospital, where you sent me was not therapeutic, so please don't send anybody else there. And they actually listened to her, and they're off the list. So he asks, was Menninger a locked facility? I don't know. It wasn't residential, is what it was. Like, she went there for office visit. So it's not a locked facility. It's not a facility. It's a hospital.
Yeah.
They
might have.
Go ahead.
They might have a psych ward, but I don't know. I don't know. But that doesn't matter. It's not the same thing. Anyway,
it's totally different. The psychiatric hospital is completely different than a boarding school. It's medical. It's all medical. Like,
yeah.
Right or like, I'm not trying to even judge like the programs implemented at psychiatric hospitals. Like, that's a different subject entirely.
Yeah.
But then he asked another question: was there access to cleaning supplies and sharps there? I don't know. I would think that probably not.
No, I wouldn't.
Generally speaking, cleaning supplies, certainly sharps, would be handled by staff or contractors, like for cleaning, right? Like,
yeah,
there's a cleaning staff who bring their cleaning supplies. And I don't know how many teenagers are abusing cleaning supplies, but apparently it's something he wanted to bring up. Of course, that would be difficult for a person who isn't struggling to see that. To see what? Okay. I don't know. He asked about lockdown,
cleaning products,
supplies, sharps. Of course, a person who isn't struggling it would be difficult to see that. By the way, he goes on, the cleaning products purchased were designed to be non-toxic in case they were ingested. Okay, cool. All right. So then they could be safely, I guess, left out. I don't know why you'd leave them out, but if there were non-toxic cleaning supplies around, so what?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And we go on. Of course, someone being moved when they aren't being safe is difficult to watch. Of course, someone being moved when they aren't being safe is difficult to watch. So somebody is moving somebody else physically, I would imagine, and that might be difficult to watch because the person who's being moved, maybe they don't want to be moved, or they're struggling against being moved. Yeah. And that it could be considered not safe. Sure. I mean, if there's a physical confrontation, that's not, I don't want to watch that. So, yeah, he's right. Of course, being told you would be put into a hold is scary. That is scary. That's a threat.
Yes.
That's not actually even being put into a hold. That's being told that you will be put into a hold. You don't even know what that, I mean, I don't even know what that means exactly. What kind of, like, what are you going to do to me? I'm going to put you in a hold. Okay? Like, what? So now I'm worried about, because I've never been put in a hold. So when someone in authority, my mentor apparently, tells me that I'm going to be put into a hold and then doesn't do that, or it just tells me, then I have a lot of anxiety about what that really even means.
Right.
He admits that's scary, of course.
Yeah.
We do the best we can not to threaten that those of us who understand what it is like to have power taken from us. So let's take that apart. We do the best we can not to threaten. Wouldn't that be not threatening? That would be the best. To actually not threaten would be the best way to not threaten people. Don't threaten people.
That shouldn't be done in therapeutic setting anyway, at all.
But the way it's stated, we do the best we can do not to threaten those of us and us. There's so much bullshit in the statement. Now he's equating him with her. Those of us who understand what it is like to have power taken from us. Now I wonder, does he understand what it's like to have power taken from him? Really? With his graphic design? Did someone rip up his paper? Maybe? Like, hey, your graphic design is horrible. I'm ripping it up. And you know what? You're fired because you're not doing yoga very well. And so we're going to take that authority away from you. But then suddenly they're like, hey, you know what? Since you understand what it's like to have power taken from you, what we're going to do for you, sir, Jason, is we're going to put you in charge of kids, and you can take the power from them. How about that? That's a perfect job for you, because you understand what it's like to have power taken from you. Now, that may or not be his story, but he said so. These are his words. He's
implementing that.
Power taken from us.
Yeah.
Okay. And he says, there were also persons who tried to hurt themselves and others because of all this, who are there on high alert, and sometimes exhausted people don't say things the right way. Okay. So there were people there, they were trying to hurt themselves and hurt others. And then because of that going on in this therapeutic environment, they were on high alert. And
the staff.
Okay. So the staff was on high alert because there's dangerous people here who want to hurt themselves and hurt others. So we're going to be very careful, making sure that doesn't happen. So we're essentially just saying that we're really aware of the dangerous environment that we're in.
Yeah.
And then immediately, the same sentence, excuse me. So we're on high alert, and sometimes exhausted people don't say things the right way. Well, I don't understand what that has to do with being on high alert and having people like threatening to hurt themselves and others. Like, why would you be that concerned about saying things the right way? You're tired? Like, so you're grumpy? Or you have a resentment about, and I don't know if he's talking about himself. I think.
I think he is, because he can't be talking for others, because that's not, we have to assume that he's talking for himself.
Right, because he was talking about people wanting to hurt other people, not saying, not like saying like nasty things or whatever, or saying things the wrong way, like, not the kids, but him. He's exhausted. He's had to, probably because he's been holding people so much.
Yeah. Or threatening to hold people so much. Yeah.
Or threatening to hold them, or behind closed doors holding them, because you don't want to see that, because it's scary. So he tries to do, you know what? I don't know exactly, but we can kind of infer some things.
Yeah.
About what's going on. So then he goes on. The stories of the people who ran away and made poor choices you spoke out about were all following drug-seeking behavior. Okay. So, the stories of the people who ran away and made poor choices, now that's debatable, but I'll take his word for it, that Jaycie spoke about were all following drug-seeking behavior. That's a pretty bold statement to make. I'd like to know how he's aware of that. Did they tell him that they were going out to seek drugs? I don't know. He doesn't clarify. But all of them. He goes on, addiction is not reasonable or rational.
I mean, he's an addiction specialist with his graphic design, degree, and he works at a gym.
Well, right. And now he's running a program for troubled teens who he believes are all making poor choices and following drug-seeking behavior. Just because. I think he just kind of made that up and figured that would be a really powerful thing to say. Because it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and then the next sentence about addiction is not reasonable or rational. No, it's a biological, mental, and some would say a spiritual malady that isn't any of those things. It's especially the physiological side of addiction, which apparently he knows absolutely nothing about.
Right.
I wonder what he's addicted to. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I wonder if
maybe one day he'll speak to us and tell us what he's addicted to, and we can tell him how unreasonable and irrational that is.
Yeah. Totally. I'm down.
So these kids, according to him, they made choices based on those urges, and you do not suffer from the same mental obsession. So again, he's propping her up, saying, you're different. You're different than those drug seekers.
Yeah.
You don't have that same mental obsession.
But what he's also trying to do with this is he's trying to separate her from her survivors and the people that she was in with and the people that she experienced this with. And it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up.
Yes. So everybody else, all of them, they're drug fiends, but not her.
No.
She's okay.
You're different. Yeah, you're different.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says it must have looked like they wanted to leave by any means, and that, let's see. It must have looked like they wanted to leave by any means, and that was it. But their motivation was to get high, and they each chose medication. They are all working on sobriety today and far more reasonable. Now, that's a big statement. So he's putting himself, this is fake empathy, right? This is like,
yeah.
No, now from your perspective, it must have looked like they just wanted to leave, but I have this other knowledge, so I can tell you that what they were really doing is going to get high, and they all successfully did, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently he's followed up on all these folks, too, all these unreasonable people. And they are all working on sobriety today and are far more reasonable. So this guy is so good. He's so good at a place that he doesn't work at anymore that he's keeping in touch with all these people, and he knows every detail about their lives and what they're doing and not doing, while also being a program director at a different facility.
It's a big job.
It's a big job. And all these people who are following their drug-seeking behavior are now all working on sobriety today.
Yeah.
This guy is fucking magical.
Magician, man.
Like, he's
fucking
really incredible.
Las Vegas. Like, he should be in Las Vegas. He could, tell the entire audience what they took. Hey, you're on drugs. You're on drugs.
Disappear.
Yeah. He could just cleanse the entire fucking country of drugs.
Okay, so all right. He goes on. Now we have a change of topic.
Okay.
We're talking about food now.
Okay.
Okay. because Jaycie mentioned how when visitors would come, they'd bring out a big spread, and it'd be all this nice fancy food for the parents and the visitors, and oh, look at this, how wonderful. So he says, we couldn't leave food out because there were people gorging themselves on food. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. Really? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I'm picturing this in like, I don't know how many people are generally in a program.
Yeah.
I mean, can you shed a little insight on that? Like, how many people would typically be like?
I mean, you're talking anywhere from like
in a room at once.
You're talking like maybe, like 50 maybe at the most. If it's a large room, if it's a small room, maybe like, 15. Yeah.
All right. So, wait, okay. This is really weird. Okay. So we couldn't leave the food out because there were people gorging themselves on food. So what that tells me is that at one point, they did leave the food out.
Yeah.
And it was like chaos, total chaos. Like,
kids were starving though, and they wanted food for fuck's sake.
There you go, right there. That's it, right? So, they must have been like literally starving.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like people like shoving bananas down their throat and like, like you know what I mean? Like gravy flying everywhere because like they're just scooping, like drinking like gravy out of ladles and throwing meat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a food fight. I'm picturing like a food fight. Essentially, like, oh, we can't have this. This is absurd. So, all right. Okay. Jesus Christ. So he says, would we then have been monitors for not regulating how much food they ate? Okay. What? Would we then have been monitors for not regulating how much food they ate? I don't know.
Huh.
Would they have been monitors for not? Why would you monitor for not regulating how much? That really doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, he doesn't really know the word martyr very well, I don't think. He needs to read some more books. Oh, monitor. Okay, monitor.
Would we then have been monitors for not regulating how much food they ate? Question mark. That really doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense at all.
Okay, so then he goes on, of course we tidied up when visitors came. That's what people do. That is what people do. They tidy up when visitors come.
Yes, they do. They do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a general thing that people do. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course we put the fruit out from behind the counter because visitors don't know where it is kept. You know, like when I come to your house, I'm not going to like go through your refrigerator or look behind the counter for the fruit. So put it out. But also saying that is that other people knew where it was kept.
Yeah.
But apparently, even though they knew where it was kept behind the counter, strangely enough, even though everybody knew, they were only gorging themselves on food when it was out. If you put away, we're cool. Like, you can't see it. Like, people.
Yeah.
Right. Of course we had to clean up your space and the school you were learning in. It teaches people teamwork and how to take pride in their space. Some people didn't know how to use a broom.
He's making excuses for not, having funding for a cleaning crew to come in. None of us should have been cleaning. That is not part of, I get that we should, learn to sort of, take pride in our possessions and things like that, but to the levels of extreme that we were forced to clean, and, in particular Jaycie was forced to clean, this is bullshit.
Sure. Now, I understand that concept of keeping your personal space, tidy, clean,
Sure.
like, your room, right? Like clean your room. Like, okay. Like you can't have stuff everywhere. It's not tidy. It could be unhygienic. We don't want like plates and food and like normal things. But, sure. Some people didn't know how to use a broom. Like that, I highly doubt that. Like, that's just weird. So then we're back to a different topic. Now we're talking about holds again.
Okay.
The kind of therapeutic holds, and I know you have a big problem with that whole phrase. The kind of therapeutic holds we did were not restraints. Now, the kind of therapeutic holds that we did were not restraints. A restraint is, he says tiring a person down, but I think he means tying a person down. Now, to restrain somebody, like we could look this up definitionally, to hold or to restrain, it's synonymous. It's the same thing. Like if I hold you, I am also then restraining you. If I restrain you, I'm holding you. And I don't know of any kind of therapy that involves restraining people. It's just not therapy. Like, you can't call it that because that's not what it is. It's just the physical act of restraining or holding somebody. That's not therapy. So there's no such thing, as you said, as a therapeutic hold.
No.
Right. And then he goes on, we use CPI, which is more dangerous for the person holding someone who has lost control. Now, when I was working in developmentally disabled group homes, there were holds that we learned. In this case, it was called OIS, Organ Intervention System. Mm-hmm. And there was one in particular where you were to grab someone by the shirt collar in the back and like kind of twist it up to get a good grip, and also grab their belt loop with the other hand. Okay. And put your leg through their legs and pull them close in to you and put your head to the side so they can't like headbutt you from behind, right? Right. At that point, you can lead that person around like a puppet. Right. Like, so we were taught these things. This is interesting. We were taught these things and then told never to use them. So we didn't. Like, we weren't functionally allowed to grab somebody unless they were in some kind of imminent danger, like they were going to, run out into the street. Right. Then we could grab them. Right. That's it. It couldn't be used as any kind of punitive measure or to get somebody to comply with you if they just were being resistant or didn't want to, like, say, for instance, go to bed. Not a lot. And these were people who were, cognitively defective in a lot of ways. Like, they had organic brain disorders and they could not walk out into the world without putting themselves in danger of, like, literally walking into traffic. Right. Right. So I imagine CPI is probably similar. I don't know what that is. Are you familiar with that? Yeah, I mean, technology? It's applying pressure points in stress positions to achieve a certain goal. Okay. Okay. And usually go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
So this is the stuff that when we talk about people being held down with like knees in backs and limbs, like being held down by a number of people, and sat on, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's interesting that you said it's more dangerous for the person holding someone who has lost control. This kind of reminds me of police high-speed chases where a cop sees a car and wants to pull him over, and the car says, and takes off.
Yeah.
So the idea is that the police officer should probably very quickly evaluate whether or not it's safe to pursue. And generally speaking, high-speed car chases are really unsafe because they're going to put at risk many people, not just the person driving away or the cop, but everybody else too. And we know this.
Yeah.
So usually what happens is they decline to pursue. And this is very similar. So if someone's out of control, whatever that means, by the way, and that's unclear. Are they?
Yeah.
Is someone fighting somebody else? Well, there's a concept called the protective use of force.
Yeah.
Where you come in and you are helping somebody not hurt themselves or somebody else.
Right.
Does the person have a razor blade, or are they slashing themselves you're watching a person physically hurt themselves? Grab them safely, whatever, get the razor out of their hand, pull them off the other person, and stop them from fighting and throw them in a room. Get rid of them. Get them out of that situation. The idea of then forcibly restraining somebody who's continuing to struggle with you and want to fight you is dangerous for everybody, and it's dangerous for people around you too.
There is so much damage that happens in that instance. You have no idea. So many people fall into it. Everyone around you is going to get hurt. When you do that.
Especially considering what he said earlier, that all these other people were so unreasonable. Right?
Yeah.
You have to go back and listen to what he said before, because he's making all these claims about how she's different, she's okay, but everybody else was drug-seeking, totally unreasonable, unsafe. So why would you want to foster that kind of environment by doing something that's dangerous to you?
Yeah.
And he goes on to say, it was designed to keep people from sitting on others and to keep people safe. So he's saying that the holds were designed to keep other people from sitting on people? Who is sitting on people?
He's basically saying that staff members were, what we were talking about in restraint, where there are people having to sit on the client or apply pressure.
No, he's saying that they're holding people to prevent people from sitting on people.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Doesn't make sense
he's
at all.
Saying that there's this epidemic of people, I guess...
Sitting on people. Yeah.
Students sitting on people, and oh, no, you can't do that. I'm going to put you in a protective hold so that you can no longer sit on people. And oh, no, that's so dangerous. Well, okay. So sitting on someone isn't what staff were trained to do.
Can I just mention though that a number of kids in residential programs have died in these restraints.
Sure.
A number of kids have had their limbs broken, have had permanent tendon damage, muscle damage, whatever. Mm-hmm. This isn't something that should be considered at all. I just want to say that. Sorry.
No, you're right. But I think from this perspective, from the staff perspective, what he can then do is justify by saying that, yes, it is dangerous. Look at all these unsafe people around.
Right.
We need to be able to do this so even more people don't get hurt. There's collateral damage, and you know what? Staff get hurt too, because he said it's more dangerous for.
Yeah.
So he's inflating this all into poor me. I have to keep all of you safe from each other, and I'm the one who's going to get hurt.
it's typical bully mentality, this whole thing, by the way. He's constantly trying to, like, poor me himself. Like, it's really pathetic. Sorry.
Right. And then he finishes off this paragraph. He finishes off his paragraph by saying that we were all trained in nonviolent crisis intervention.
Okay.
Whatever that means. Whatever that means. He doesn't really get into detail at all. He just makes that statement. Do you see? None of this is going to change your experience, and I am sorry that that time was difficult. I do not know if you were spared some other life far more difficult by being there, or if you actually are experiencing the lesser of two evils. That's kind of hard to... None of this is going to change your experience. And I am sorry that that time was difficult. I do not know if you were spared some other life far more difficult by being there, or if you actually are experiencing the lesser of two evils. That doesn't sound like an endorsement.
No.
And then it's just horrible. It says, Miss Tufts, you. I am beaming with pride, by the way. Tufts gal, you. He goes to Tufts University, right?
Right.
Okay. I think he's wrapping it up. I suppose we'll never know, but I can tell you this. How we live our lives and what we do with our experiences is totally up to us. If you choose to see that experience as only limiting, then you will remain in a place that keeps you from allowing the light within to shine fully. But I thought isn't she shining fully at the university? You know, isn't she? What limit? She can't, he's saying that you can't look back on negative things that have happened to you and evaluate them honestly, and somehow that's going to limit you further. You know what that is? You know what looking back in your life and going through and discussing negative things that have happened in your life and moving on from them, you know what that is? That's called therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's an anti-therapist right now. He's saying, no. Put a shiny coat on it. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And take it from an addict. Oh. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Take it from an addict that spent most of his life trying to figure that out. My relationship to the things that were difficult in my life shaped my reality. When I chose to see them as teachable moments, my perception and my reality changed. Wait a minute. Again, like, he just said don't do that.
Yeah.
But now he's saying that he can do it. He's able to look at the past and have it teach him something.
Yeah.
And his reality changed. Maybe that's not how it works. When you go through some traumatic event or a positive event or any event, you change. The reality of the world and the things around you, those stay the same.
And the reality of the event, the
reality of the event doesn't change either. That's just called reality. Like, reality doesn't change. It is, It's just a thing that exists. Like, okay. Because he says my perception and my reality change. Well, your perception can change, sure. You can see things differently, but that doesn't mean that the thing that you're perceiving is different. You're seeing it differently. She's seeing her time spent there as different now because she's growing out of the indoctrination that she was put through. She's seeing it in the light of reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's in the university. She has people who have had quote unquote normal lives, who haven't been through this kind of thing. And she's able to hear from them what a normal life was like. And she's now looking back saying, wait a minute, what I went through is totally not okay, I guess, and for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, I decided not to let my bullies be the voices of my present. It's bullies. I thought he was an addict. What bullies? So it makes me wonder if this is more projection from him because he sees himself as a bully. I mean, he said so in the beginning of this whole statement about, this isn't going to be very nice for you.
Yeah.
He's bullying her now.
Yeah.
As he writes this. So, but he's not going to let that bother him because he's transcended that because he's better than.
Right.
And he tried to say that about her too, that you're different than these other people. I decided to own my decisions when things didn't go my way. I stopped looking for others to blame and had a look at myself in a deep and scary way. I am not saying your experience is mine, but I am saying I cannot change my past, and to sit and wish it was different is not time well spent. So,
he's doing it again. It's like, again, he's spinning it again.
So, he decided to own his decisions when things didn't go his way. Hey, it's my fault, all right?
Yeah.
He stopped looking for others to blame. It's all me, like I did it, And then he looked at himself in a deep and scary way, whatever that means. I don't know where the fear is coming from, but again, it seems a little weird because I think having what's scary, it sounds like what she went through was scary. So I'm not saying your experience is mine. Well, great. He's not saying that her experience is his experience. Doesn't that make sense? But what he is saying is that he can't change his past. So to sit and wish it was different is not time well spent. But didn't he look at himself in a scary way? Wouldn't that have been going through his past? Because apparently his past was full of fear. So he's saying that he can do it and come through it, but don't do that because it's not time well spent to evaluate what you've been through to see where you can go from here. Don't do that.
Right.
If you really want to help others, then teach parenting classes or work in a high school to get the girls that would end up in a program without you. Is she a parent? Does Jaycie have a kid?
I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't, you know what? It's just a guess, but I don't think so. And why would a new mother... Wait a minute. What? If she does have a child, that child is obviously very, very young.
Yeah.
So she should teach parenting classes or work in a high school to get the girls that would end up in a program without you. So wow, this is a real indictment here, okay? Are you following this? The parenting class is weird, but work in a high school to get the girls that would end up in a program without you. Do intervene with these high school girls so that they don't end up in this horrible place that you'd ended up in.
That I worked in, that I now run a part of later on.
Right. So get in the middle because you're as qualified as anybody.
Yeah.
Young lady. Be the change you wish to see. That's it. That is his full statement regarding Jaycie Henderson's interview, and I apologize for the maybe some difficulty understanding some of my enunciation. I'm wearing a retainer, but was that clear enough?
Yeah, extremely.
I want to make sure that
no, you're fine. You got it. Yeah.
To make sure, but I think it was really important to kind of go through this and really take an honest look at this guy's statement and go through it.
Yes.
And I think we successfully did that.
I agree.
As non-judgmentally as possible, using his own words and kind of evaluating what he meant by them. So,
yeah.
Go ahead. I don't know what you think, but
well, I'm so confused by him. I think he's horrible with words, but I don't think graphic design teaches you a lot about literature or writing or comprehension. But it's just so sad to me, yeah.
It is. But I think this is really important because he's holding himself up to be some kind of authority and essentially speaking for the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I'd like to hear, I guess I'd like to hear, in some ways, like a rebuttal. Let's get more statements from these, so-called professionals. I don't necessarily want to, give them a platform.
Yeah.
To try to sell their, services, but with statements of this nature, I'd be more than happy to debate somebody based on, to really kind of back up these confusing statements about what they're saying. So yeah, it's good to kind of hear from the other side and get a chance to really go through it and pick it apart and keep it in context, and hopefully this does some good in getting people to better understand the confusion and the lack of clarity regarding, at least in this case, what they're actually doing there and their policies and how they're really not helpful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
I also just want to quickly say that I think Jaycie's amazing. And I think this group of young survivors, it's freaking amazing.
I agree.
It took me so long to figure everything out and to be able to talk about it and to be able to not be hysterical when talking about it because I just didn't know how to get it across and I didn't know how to explain it.
Right. Well, I'm really happy. I'm really happy that you and I are able to really provide some outlet and help for people because
me too.
They're not. People are. They don't know where to go to tell their stories. Where other people can kind of hear them in their own words, and then get that verified back. Other than kind of in their own little small circles.
Sure.
Where it's just kind of bouncing experiences off of each other. This is more open-ended and it's going out to the world, and people are listening. Obviously, people are listening. Even they are listening. So, let's keep it up, and we'll keep shedding light on on what really goes on behind the scenes of the troubled teen industry.
Yes, sir. For sure.
So that was the show for the day. V2V podcast, episode number 18. We hit on some interesting points.
Yeah.
And please hit that like button if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe for all our new daily content. And thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.